Perpetual emotion is a conglomeration of passion that we have for
experimenting with sound textures
and the love for rhythm and world beat and electronica and
drawing from traditional music.
You know, when you look at it from an outsider's point of view and you just start throwing all these into a basket, it almost doesn't look like they mesh.
We do French Canadian,
old time,
some bluegrass styles. That's where Ed started off, really.
Cape Breton,
Irish,
Quebecois, or French Canadian.
And then I try to explore some jazz chords and textures to put into it.
But eventually, once we sat down and started putting the pieces together, it started to create a identity, and eventually we came up with a sound that indeed became Perpetual Emotion.
So when we're doing a performance, we do use a lot of looping, but every performance is started with a clean slate, so we don't have anything in the can or anything sequenced or anything like that. It's all live. Yeah.
The instrument I play is a Ned Steinberger design. It's called the NS-CR5, and it is a fully electric 5-string violin. And I stumbled upon this because Ned Steinberger lives about 10 minutes from me in Maine. The first thing I did with it was try looping with it. I learned how to be able to play on top of what I'm playing and time my music. And then I realized that effects work really well with it. So I started my quest looking for effects to play with it, and I immediately stumbled upon delay and reverb and compression and distortion, and then I built this great big pedal board. They're all controlled by my feet, and I have a little metronome in there that I've modified to time all my devices, and you know, it's a never-ending quest. I'm sure I'm going to end up doing something to modify it again here in the future, because we're coming out with new material all the time that's going to need new sounds, and that's the wonderful thing about it, is that you're never stuck with one sound. It's always evolving. It's always evolving. The rhythm is nothing other than me creating a sound by putting the bow on the strings and then taking the bow back off the strings. So what you end up with is, and that's just me. So there's nothing else going on here. But when you add the delay to it,
So as he started experimenting more with the loop and using the 5-string fiddle and getting different sound textures, I started experimenting with acoustic-electric guitar and synthesizer. The guitar that I have, it has a pickup under every string, and when I play a note on the guitar, what it does is it translates it into a MIDI signal, and you can take any sound that's in the synth module and control it with the guitar. Sounds a little bit different from a normal acoustic though, but similar enough. It's kind of familiar. And then with the synthesizer sound, I get these sort of different. And so sometimes if I add some delay here, where the guitar sound might have. Now add that kind of swell of stuff, you know. So the Godin acoustic synth guitar was really a good fit because it allowed me to just plug into a synthesizer. And the didgeridoo is a piece of PVC pipe that was cut down, so I'd have a D note, and then I shaped it so that it would be convenient to play next to Ed, and it wouldn't be stretching out over his equipment, but also trying to get some back pressure by putting divots and stuff inside of it. And then I can run it through the same processing that my guitar has, so I'm using the delays and reverbs and those kinds of things. Create that texture, and that's what we like to get is kind of like a surreal sound while still using the Celtic melodies and such, but to create a wide sound field and having the delays and those kinds of things to make some of the sound sources a bit more ambiguous than would otherwise be from just an acoustic instrument going through a microphone. We're pretty particular on what it is that we're trying to deliver.
By traveling with our own sound, we can just make things consistent.
We've done it enough to where we really like to empower ourselves to work the sound. It kind of allows us to fill a niche and deliver something that's kind of unique from other bands.
We create a certain sound that needs a certain type of equipment.
And so if it's very consistent and it's pretty powerful, people will come to rely on that and know that every time they come to see us play, they'll have a similar sound.
I kind of play double duty as a sound man and also the musician. I know what we sound like, and I know what I want us to sound like. That's not to say that, there aren't real competent sound guys out there, but it's just so much easier for us to set up our own sound and get what we need right out of the box.
Fiddle, guitar, didgeridoo, and foot percussion and voice.